Hello YouTube, welcome to Dirt Trek. Today we're finally going to lift the Toyota, oh my goodness, I knew I was going to say that. Today we're lifting the Subaru Crosstrek, not the Toyota. Toyota's already lifted. Toyota don't need to get no higher. The Crosstrek, however, I'm going to add an 1.5 inch lift to it, so let's get to it. Alright, so did it have a specific thing or is it just Tuff Country?
Tuff Country, 1.5, easy ride.
Yada yada yada, read the box. It was about 340 something, so not too bad. Out here, screws and the bolts and parts, the instructions, which we probably should read. So we're going to do the front first because the front is actually easier. We're going to do that just to kind of get an idea. And we're going to time it to see how long this process takes. That's one thing I've seen a lot of.
Any stickers?
Are there stickers? There's stickers we're putting on. Caution! Yeah, definitely. Wear your seatbelt. Tuff Country, easy ride suspension. No stickers.
Oh, boo-hoo.
We can put the caution on the bumper.
Okay.
All right, let's get to it. Working on my car really lifts my spirits. And the pun begins. So what we're doing now is we gotta get the tires off and then into the top of the shock towers. We're gonna undo these bolts and do all the stuff inside there. We're going to show that to you. Pull the tire, get this pulled out, and those spacers go into the top and sit underneath this, and we just bolt them right back in. So that's how that's going to go. In theory, that is how that's going to go. So I was like, hey dude, something's holding your tire on. Can't get it off. I was like, ah, nuts. I'm sorry, that was terrible.
So basically, getting this strut out, you have to completely remove it off the spindle and everything in order to, you got to do the 3 bolts on top here so you can completely remove this so you can put the spacer in.
Right.
So basically it's a matter of, you know, a couple bolts here and then the 3 on the top. This should just slide out. We got to disconnect because this is probably going to droop more.
Yeah.
So the ABS sensor right here will probably pull pretty tight, so we're going to disconnect that also.
Yeah, so it's not hanging or yanking on stuff.
And I think for the front, that's the most important things.
Wasn't the brake line, didn't they disconnect the brake line, or there was a pin or something holding it? No? I thought they did. Well, we'll find out.
I bet you the instructions tell all this too.
Let's see what the instructions say. Description, front space. Congratulations on your selection to purchase a Tuff Country Easy Ride Suspension System. We at Tuff Country Easy Ride Suspension are okay. We're enough of that. Make sure to thread, lock tight, new to lock tight. Installation complete. Important customer information. Tuff Country. Oh, this is all the don't die if you do. It's not our fault. Remove bolts. Here we go. 1. To begin installation, block the rear tires of the vehicle so that the vehicle is stable and can't roll.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
I got it. Unbolt the front brake line bracket from the strut. Locate and unclip the ABS wire. Remove the 2 bolts that attach. Carefully lean the steering knuckle out of the way. So this bolt here, probably going to be hard to see on camera. You can just barely see it right there. Those notches, these little things actually mark where it needs to sit so that it adjusts your camber in and out. And it's got this lobe on it, so when you roll that bolt over, it's pushing the system over, and so that gives you the proper camber where, you know, too much, too little, and all that goodness. And we're still gonna have to get this thing aligned once we get all these on, but we can at least get it close so it's not totally eating the tires going down the road. So you just pinch that, and this will pop right out. There's a bolt for the brake line. That'll pop out. This will be free, and then just pull these. Yep, there it is. It's got that weird lobe on it. And that is what affects your camber. We're going to remove the bolts from the top. We came to the conclusion that once this is dropped, it is going to pull on that brake line, so we're going to disconnect that. Hey, look at that.
Facing like this, so I think that those orientate a certain way.
Yes.
Where we got to make sure that this, dude, that spins.
Huh.
That's weird.
Huh. Well, let's figure this out before something gets backwards. These aren't marked.
Let's see what it says on the instructions.
6. Take the strut and carefully knock out the OE upper studs.
These studs. Okay.
Right. Locate the new spacer install on the top, making sure to line the 3 holes up. Computer torque 20 reinstall the strap using your marks to make sure it is the same orientation that was removed from. We need to mark that thing. Does it have a marking on it?
I don't see anything. It's pretty dirty though.
Oh, there's a green mark.
Green mark.
That would have been
nice to see when we pulled it off.
Is that the right mark? Because you spun it a few times.
I don't see what the difference is.
I don't
all
either.
line up exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm almost wondering if we should do this side first.
See if there's a difference.
See where that green mark is pointing.
Right, and then do the same. Alright, gonna pull the other side and figure out if we just confuse yourselves or if there's just a random green mark.
The front.
Yeah.
So just like that. That's pointing up, this facing forward. So we need to find that green mark. Right here.
So green marks in the rear. On the inside.
Okay, so I'm gonna pound these out real quick.
Well, this is probably not the best way to do this, but, you know, learn from us. Be more prepared.
Learn from our mistakes.
Yeah. Conclusion we just came to about the struts?
Well, we don't know which one goes where.
Okay, so.
Our memories might be short, but we're good at figuring out things.
That's why we record things. Can't believe we got so distracted by those we completely spaced it on which one we had in our hands. Oh, I put a black dot on the passenger. Oh, it's this one. I got it. Where's your tape measure? I want to check these things real quick.
It should be exactly an inch and a half.
It should be,
Right
but did we get gypped? Did they do me?
Maybe it's 2 inches.
Maybe it's 1.7. Dude, if it's 2 inches, we're sending it back. I didn't want this.
I can tell. You're a carpenter, you know. That's an inch and a half.
I
I'd
want
be willing to bet my, well,
Easy what you say.
inch and a half.
It looks like it might be a 64th short.
No, it looks like literally exactly inch and a half. I mean, exact.
Yeah. I guess perfection's in the eye of
What
the
does the
ruler
camera
holder.
think?
I think you're holding it sideways, and so you're fudging it anyways.
Dude, look, it's 2 inches.
It's 2 inches. There we go. We're putting a 2-inch lift on this thing. Let's go. You know what? Let's just put 2 of those on one side. we would have had a 3-inch lift on this thing. Yes. Probably a really great idea. If this video gets 150,000 likes, we'll do it.
Yeah, your axle is
Smaller than my sway bar.
the size of my thumb. Literally. I've seen razors that have bigger axles.
Probably putting out more power too.
Literally.
Then we gotta get those bolts through there, and it just screws right in, which is gonna take a second. The spacers are on. Now comes the fun part of actually putting it back in, which we all know it's easier to get it out than it is to put it back in, especially with an extra piece of metal on the top. So, all right, bring it up to the left. All right, perfect. Right there. Right, that's it. All right, bolts.
Got you covered.
Oh, you moved it. So for torque specs, these ones here stock. People are saying about 14 to 15, but once you put this on, they're saying 28. For the instructions say 28 for these ones with the lift kit on it. And then these two here, we're gonna go about 116 because we've been hearing 116, 130, or as tight as we can get them. So, and the rest is all confusion. That's what we found. That's what we're settling with. That's what we're saying, and that's what we're doing. So let me know if you find a specific what each bolt is for after the lift, because I've been hearing a bunch of different stuff. So we're just gonna run with this and see what we can break. I don't know, but we found that we may have just almost done messed up. So you can see this screw is sitting up high. These two are not, which means that one's hanging down. Jason has speculated that when we were tightening these up on the top, it was actually grabbing the bolt, spinning it, which from this angle would actually be undoing it underneath while I was tightening these. Alright, so if you ever go with the solid block, it's probably why these were cheaper. If you ever go with the solid block ones and not the ones that have the 2 plates, then something to be leery of is when you crank these things back down, you're actually going to be untightening it from the bottom. Because when you're turning this clockwise, if you look at it, the rotation from the bottom, it's going to be going counterclockwise. Torque bolts at 28 feet-pounds.
Bolts.
Bolts, not nuts, bolts.
Bolts.
So those going into the plate.
Yeah.
So there's a whole second part about torquing the bolts and the nuts down to 28.
Yeah, so this is first.
Yep, torque that down, then you torque that down.
Yeah.
Okay, bolts underneath.
Do the rear,
Tightened, yeah.
'cause I've never done
Torqued. tighten. We got the brake line, we got the ABS wire, and we got the brake line and the ABS wire. So we're gonna put the tires front and back, or left and right, and we're gonna drop this thing down. All right. Stop it. That's actually got some room to it.
There's no way it's gonna stay that tall. Dude, that's it. That's the height.
We didn't tighten those tires down all the way, did we?
Oh no.
Tighten those down a little bit more?
Yeah.
Alright, so this is back to the car. Same as the front, just we're having to lift a little bit more. Because we're not just doing this, we're doing that, and then that. And then the inside, when you get to the top of the towers, is these 2 bolts here, these 2 bolts here. So that's underneath the floor mat. Okay, so those are out. Now we got to see what we got to disconnect from under here. It looks like over here, don't it?
Looks like these 2. There's 2 right there.
So it's, oh yeah, it would be those 2.
So those look like the same size. 14. You want to grab that 14?
So removing the subframe bolts. This is going to bring this whole bottom rig down.
There's 4 corners basically. One right here, one right here,
And then 2 more on the other
side.
Alright, so we're jacking the center up because this is what it doesn't list in the instructions. You start pulling those out, the whole thing just wants to fall down the back. So I've been holding up with a jack on that side, but now this side is dropping drastically. So
That's just
that's
that.
that.
That's
and
all
we
it's
should just pull out. We actually can lower that down, and those will literally pop right out. I'm taking pictures instead of camera. All right, so mental note: if you do drop it all the way down, it's gonna grab on your exhaust pipe right there. So just a heads up: if you try to drop this thing all the way to the floor, it's gonna stuck you. However, if you have a jack failure, it's going to hit that before it hits you, so that's good to know too. All right, learning from our mistake, we marked both the spacer and the strut, and we're going to torque down the bolts before we get it in the car. Okay, so we got this spacer in, that spacer in, and then there's these 2. You can see them right there, those 2 in the front. So we got those in, torque down. We're working on torquing these main ones down. And when we do that, we gotta get these torqued down, and we gotta get the ones on the top of the tower torqued down, and we gotta put the tire on and drop it down and listen to my front end crunch itself. There's no way it sits up that high. That is crazy, dude.
Wow.
That's actually way up there.
More than I expected.
Yeah, especially in the rear. Like the front, not too bad. The rear is just way up there. Yeah, that's how you lift a Subaru Crosstrek.
It's amazing how much just 1.5 inches.
So it took us about 4 hours, 15 minutes to put this in. It wasn't too bad. We were running into issues like forgetting to torque down the bolts on the underside of the spacers. So they're spinning, so we had to go back and retighten those. And then in the rear, just trying to get the bolts to line up.
I could have knocked about, what, 15 minutes off if we didn't mess up?
45 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
And if we would have gotten those bolts on dead, we could have probably had this done 3 hours easy. All right, well, tires next.